Okay, so the next review here is Daniel. Finally caught the form open. Yes, the form is open right now. Okay, let me make sure I get we got 3D artist at Uplay Online. What? What? Let me make sure I've got your open this up. So extra details, you're just saying environment, material artist. Okay. So you're a 3D artist at Uplay Online. You're in Barcelona. You've got man, hang on. I have not taken a breather yet. By breather, I mean inhaling energy drinks into my lungs directly. So looking at this, you're saying environment art or environment and material artist. So we're seeing a bit of procedural work going on through Houdini. We've got this pool. Let me just click on this. This is 2 years old. Man, this looks cool, though. This actually reminds me of, man, what is that? Is it Love, Death, Robots? The guy who is designing stuff. This looks like his pool. Interesting. Anyways, this looks cool. Oh, man, you got it in motion, too. This nice color choices going on here. Yeah, the blue. Zima blue. Yes, that's the one. So you've got some environments here, too. Wait, what? Map based on the famous Mirage from Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but an Overwatch look. Oh, dude, that's cool. Wow. All right. You definitely got the style going on. And that, like, your colors and all that are pretty on point. So when I look at your portfolio, I think, okay, I understand this part. I see your description. I would say when you say 3D artist here, I would probably say like environment and material artist, like you're saying in the start living the title that you want, right? And it's okay to say at Uplay Online here. Drix, are you in chat? I don't even know, man. Yeah, but the Overwatch vibe from these is very, very strong. Did you do the same thing here? No, this is like upcoming game, Defense Corp. Oh, man. Cool. Yeah, so you've got some stylized vibes going on, I'm digging it. Looks really cool. Oh, and then great work with the colors. I don't know if that's your choice or like the level designer's choice. But just giving you an idea of like understanding which space you're in when you're on the other side. Especially if it's capture the flag, right? Well, that's interesting with the yellow too. Anywho, I wanted to say, like, looking at your portfolio, fixing your title here so that it says what you want to be, and then moving all of your environments up to the front, unless you want to be a material artist, then moving all your materials up to the front. Then it's more about like, let me see what this is. So this is a thesis. So taking your thesis and any of your breakdowns or stuff that you're trying to sell or any of the stuff that's not materials or environments, putting those near the end. Usually that's a good idea. Whoa. Yeah, usually that's a good idea just so that you can understand what you're interested in more of the two, and then kind of getting your other things in the back here so that we're focusing on your portfolio more. It's still okay to have these down here. I don't think it's a problem to be having that stuff here, but maintaining some organization would be good. There's some stuff that I've talked about a little bit in portfolio reviews when it comes to how these thumbnails are formatted. And right now you've got the single sphere, and then you've got 3 spheres. I really like the idea of a logo being in the middle there. This is super interesting to me. And this is for the the materials challenge, if you want to call it that. There's a challenge, and then there's the November. I think if you could take these and figure out how to work with this frame and showing these materials, it could be pretty interesting. I'm trying to think if there's a good way for me to demo that. Maybe if I grab this. Oh, actually, maybe this will be, yeah. We'll just make the background that, and then we'll wipe these out. So let's say that this is your frame, right? We'll just do a few of these. So we got your frame here, and then we'll put another one here. And let's just say that, like, if you were to take a sphere, I'm not even going to try and perfectly select this. I'm just going to eyeball it. So if you had this sphere, and I'm going to add a frame to this so we know where the edge is. Not texture. What are we doing here? What's happening? How to drop stroke. There we go. Don't have a stroke, guys. It's bad. Okay, we'll just make this black. We know where the edge of that frame is. So if you were to have a sphere here, right? Maybe we shrink it down a little bit. And then you had another one behind it, right? Maybe we make it a little smaller. If it's not too crazy, you could author your thumbnails where the thumbnail for this one allows for the bleed over, right? This sounds crazy, I know. But think about being able to go outside. Koala material balls. Thanks, Melissa. Think about being able to go outside of the frame. And as long as the thumbnails are next to each other, you've now broken the illusion, right, of trying to have to stay inside of this box. I think this could be pretty cool, but it really depends on the layout, right? And as the scale changes, you're going to get clipping, which, I mean, you're already getting clipping, right? So if you want to show more materials, I think this could be a pretty interesting pass. Andre, what's going on? What's wrong? That's genius. Man, I've been saying it for a couple streams. I'm waiting for someone to do it. Next level thumbs. Let's go. Yeah, I think that would allow for a little bit more breathing room in your materials while also allowing you to show more of them. I don't think so. Noble's saying that's kind of a big ask, considering you'd have to redo your thumbnails. You should probably, at least with substance materials, you should have all of these materials still, right? It would be very weird if they're just gone now, especially with how much work you put into this one. It'd be really weird if it just didn't exist anymore, right? So you should be able to have all of that stuff to do re-renders of your materials. The other thing too is you could future-proof all of your thumbnails by rendering out the spheres themselves as like 4K, right? And then saving those without the background, so that at any time you could sample them down, shrink them, scale them, put them next to each other, rearrange them, and then just re-export a thumbnail. Then you don't even have to re-render the material unless it's like a color shift or like a lighting change that you want to do to all of them. You should be able to do it. But yeah, you're getting into photo scan as well. I think you were using Alchemist for this, and the way you're putting little logos in the corner seems to be doing all right, and it's not too distracting, so that's really good. You seem to have a pretty consistent material look, and the way you're modeling is pretty consistent. This this Greek house, this villa, actually feels the weakest to me right now out of the entire portfolio. Well, let me see this one. This one, the thumbnail for this one is kind of weak. Mainly because everything is very mid-toned. The only really bright thing is like right here, specifically here. There's a little bit of brightness here, and it's a little brighter here. But your thumbnails is pretty mid-toned or even darker compared to the other stuff in the scene. And that could just be all you need to do would be to move the lights around and like focus on this. This is even pretty, wow, dude, that tree is crazy. But yeah, this is kind of a tough one to frame. That's kind of interesting. You might get a better koala. I can't unsee it, man. Let me see here. So this text is really distracting, by the way. I probably wouldn't even put that text there and just keep the symbol there. And when people mouse over it, they'll see the procedural pass for it. Let me just do that. And we'll go in here. I think if this was masked, let me invert the mask. We'll go back in here. We'll grab that one image. Where is it? This one. I think if that was here, that would be stronger. Let's see if there's a... Yeah, that in general, I feel like is stronger. You got different color here. You got some stuff going on here. There is also still that range issue going on. So I'm starting to think it's maybe even the level is just really dark. Don't hesitate to tune these just a little bit to get it more into like the same value range as the rest of your thumbnails. Removing that text and reorganizing them that way you have materials and environments or environments and materials, and then the rest of your other stuff down here. This guy, I feel like the materials are really good or are really interesting, like the way the lighting affects this. And I think it must be the lighting. Well, the attention to detail is really good. Like there's all this stuff down here too. Maybe it's just not contrasted enough. Like there's just, the ambient is so bright that your eyes don't really get rest. Does that make sense? Like here it's quite dark, right? Over back here it gets kind of dark. Let me see if it just copy this. You just level. See that this is also, it's quite clean. Usually you want like a dip here. So your mids are pretty high. Your mid-range values are pretty high. So everything is very, very up there. Like if I do, let me see. We don't really have room to do this because then you start to lose information. But I think you're getting a more pleasant view of like the work that you put in on these materials. The saturation is also pretty intense. I'm not sure where your PBR values are in that. And that might be doing a bit of a number on like how our eyes are perceiving the materials. So you're gonna have to watch out for that. My gut instinct is that this is too saturated. Let me just, it might be okay. That might be all right. It is kind of dancing in the territory of maybe like getting, like you want to be careful that you don't go too far into this range. And you want to be really careful that you don't go too far down. Yeah. But no, these are your work on this stuff. These, man, this is, that is good. I really like this. Maybe if there was slight color variations going on between these just to break them up a little bit. I think it's the lighting is where you're suffering the most. Definitely. This is really nice to see as well. I don't know if you need to show these separate like this. You might be able to, oh my gosh, there's so many like little, see, this angle is quite interesting. I feel like you're not getting, it's like you're not getting out of the sun. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I actually just want to talk about this scene for your portfolio because it's like, it's quite good. It's just not, it's not popping. Like this feels like it's glowing, and then I do that and it loses the glow. But I think it's what you need more is the contrast. Let me see if I can blur. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make this. We're gonna make this a smart object. That way I can blur it over and over. And then we'll screen. Oh, hello. Invert that mask, and we'll just bring it in. Bring that light in where we want it. Right, quite bright. That's fine. And then we'll take this and we'll lower that down. And see, now you're getting that glow. Getting like a nice emissive, or not emissive, a nice bloom from what's going on here. Your materials are still singing. The ceiling is maybe a little too saturated from what I had done with bringing in the, let me see if I can, oh no, that's with the changes. But I mean, the other thing that I find really strange is the sky is so dark by comparison of how bright the scene is. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that sky needs to be much more, let's see if I can grab it. Probably not. Kinda. Kinda. Oh, we're trying. Is it gonna happen? I don't know. Oh my gosh. No way. There's no way. Okay, so obviously I'm blowing that out. That's gross. But it almost feels like your sky is not matching the lighting that you're seeing. Pandu, what's going on, man? How you doing? And I think it might be because no, see it even here. It's just your sky is real dark for whatever reason. Like the brightness of the highlight of this cloud should be somewhere around this range or more. Right? Because this is a cloud getting direct light on it. Either way, I think it's, oh my gosh, when you get into the ooh. That's spicy. I like that. Yeah, this one's hitting a little differently. I like it. Bye, Melissa. Have a good evening. Thanks for coming by. Your materials are real nice though. Oh my gosh, that's like, yeah. These petals feel like photos. And I think maybe they're too saturated. They really are like popping out. But I think your nighttime shot is doing better because there's areas for the lighting to kind of dim down. And you're putting lighting where the fires are, really helps explain the space more. And you're getting like separation because of that, right? You're getting this space and then the inner space and then outside there. And the sky matches. Whereas the sky here feels very dark by comparison of this. And I think when the sky is closer. All right, Paul, have a good one, man. It's like that's when it really comes through. Let's see if I can grab this one because I want to just illustrate it more. You know what I'm saying? I think I missed some of the sky, but yeah. Right? It just feels like it should be more. Should be more. For some reason, it's not. And this is like kind of matching the washed feel. Oh. Anyways, your portfolio otherwise is pretty nice. I mean, your material work is pretty good. Oh man, is this a compilation material week 2? I've seen that. I went and looked at that clock. It's really cool. I had to make that clock actually. Just strange. For Forza. Oh yeah. Yeah, this looks well executed as well. Like, I think where you can push these types of materials depends on how close you want to be to reality, right? Because in reality, it's all going to be pretty diffused. Roughness wise, it's all going to be kind of the same. But you can push them to be a little different, and maybe you have. I'm just not seeing it in the. Yeah, see, they're all pretty close to the same, and they have a nice variation in them as well. That variation is key. If you could take some of those elements and push them just outside of the range of the rest, then you start to imply that these are like maybe shinier than the rest, or that maybe the black ones are really shiny versus the rest of the little pieces. But I mean, this is a pretty good portfolio. It's just the thumbnails are a bit crowded. I'm still not sure if you want to be an environment artist or a material artist. It looks like you're more interested in material art or being a material artist. So figuring out which way you want to go is going to be key for helping the person that is viewing your portfolio to hire you to know where you're at. Depending on the size of the studio, usually, at least from what I've seen larger studios, right? And when it's a larger studio, they tend to be even more specialized. So you would either be one or the other. In what I've seen so far, you're going to be seeing a environment artist requesting materials with reference, and not just reference, but what the material will look like when light is hitting it at the angle, so that you can see like how that surface reacts to lighting. You'll make that as a request, and then that will go to a material artist, and then they'll create the material for you, right? And then it shows up in the engine, and then you use it. And Muck says in chat right now, actually, and HR is the first to see your portfolio, right? Yes. Not HR necessarily. It depends on the size of the studio. If the studio is really small, it's going to be probably the artists that are putting the job opening out to begin with. And if not, then it's not HR, it's a recruiter. HR and recruitment and recruiting are two different things, especially when you get into a bigger studio. Those become very separated. And I would say I don't think recruitment really crosses over with HR at all. That being said, I'm sure there are studios that do it. It's just I have not seen that in what I've seen. But yeah, I jumped the gun with that. But I think where I would like to see you go, if you want to be doing more materials, or if you want to be a material artist, I would love to see more like foreign or strange materials that you don't really see other people making. I think that's what makes Daniel Theiger? I think that's what makes his portfolio so intriguing with his materials, is that he goes out, it's like, oh, I'm going to make alien skin, or I'm going to make this like strange, I don't know, surface on another planet that's completely against like everything we understand surfaces of planets to look like, or machine planets and things like that. Just broadening your horizons when it comes to the materials that you're working on or creating. When it comes to environments, I would say working on your lighting and continuing your materials are very good, and I think your lighting is letting your materials down. Pushing the lighting pass on this would probably bring this from like, I would say this is, if I look at just this image, it's probably like just looking at this image, maybe like a 7 out of 10. And then when you scroll down and you start seeing the materials, like this brings it up as you start to scroll through. And then you see these and you're like, okay, this guy's a material artist for sure. And then you just realize that, okay, it's because your lighting is not strong enough. If you can get your lighting to really sing and make the environment pop, I think in this one you could easily bring it up to like a 9 out of 10 because the content is authored well. It's the lighting that's kind of like not showing it well enough. But yeah, and be careful with I mean, I'm sure you know this, making photogrammetry materials, that the color of these petals feels off, and I think it's because they're photos. I'm not sure though. Like it's like the lighting wasn't removed from them, if that makes sense. You also want them to pop out as well, right? And that can kind of do that. What is the purpose of making things that like that though? What things? I'm curious. The purpose of making strange materials, is that what you're talking about, Walker? Sorry. Like crazy materials? Okay, so like for example, I see this. This is cool to me. This one's really cool to me. This one's really cool to me. Now the reason I like those is they're crazy, right? Or they're like, what the heck? It raises a question, how was that achieved, right? Or it shows me that you were able to problem solve to the point where you were able to make something that I recognize and understand what it is, even if I've never seen it before. Or like it's kind of like thinking outside of the box. Like to see, when I saw a material of like a ball of ice cream, and you're like, man, that looks just like ice cream. That's crazy. You had to solve that problem. It wasn't just bricks, right? You had to solve what makes it look like ice cream. So when I see a really broad range, I think that's what I'm more interested in, is a really broad range of material types, so that you really understand. I can understand that, oh, this person is really good at figuring out the surface that they're trying to replicate, or that they're trying to make me understand what it is. They're really good at figuring it out. So you could throw them a really hard material and it's not even an issue. I think I know who's getting ice cream after the stream. Dude, ice cream sounds amazing. I think that's why I'm interested in like exotic materials, I think is the better way to put it. Not crazy materials, exotic. So like materials you don't normally see, or ones that require a little extra problem solving in order to maintain the fidelity and the execution required in order to show that material. So yeah, I guess I think that's it for this portfolio. And hopefully that was helpful. I'm gonna hop out and chat for a bit and then get out of here. But thanks for posting your portfolio, Daniel. It's pretty cool to see, and hopefully what I said is helpful. And yeah, cool.